What's the vibe at Paycor Stadium following Monday night's ugly loss to the Browns? We'll dive into that, plus injury updates, including some good news about Eli Apple and potential good news about DJ Reader, and more here as the Bengals, they start preparing for the Panthers on Sunday. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and, shout out to Rivertown Inquiry because, they're the ones bringing you this video. I love Rivertown Inquiry, all of their solid gear. I know Ben Baby, I wore this little crew neck to the locker room today, and Ben Baby was like, "Oh man, where'd you get that? Is that Rivertown? Check the tag." He was like, "Oh, that's Rivertown." I was like, "Yeah, that's that Rivertown swag, man. You got to go there, and you got to go there too. RivertownInquiry.com, or check them out. They're like 10 minutes from downtown in Oakley on Madison Road. So check them out, RivertownInquiry.com. They're open every Sundays, by the way. Coming to the game Sunday? Fine. You're in town Sunday? Check them out. Go there Sunday morning before the game. Go there Saturday. So you can get your gear and be ready to go on Sunday. Let's dive in. Speaking of Sunday, the Bengals host the Panthers, and what is safe to say, it's a must-win this Sunday. And the vibe today at Paycor Stadium, they weren't panicked. They weren't frightened. They weren't going off the wall. At the same time, I think they have the urgency, and they know they have to fix this now. You can't lose to the Panthers, a team that gave the Falcons all they could handle, a team that beat Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last. I mean, it's going to be a tough game, and I think they realize that. And that's the thing, looking back on Monday's game against the Browns, that really, really stands out to me is the sense of urgency and knowing that you're going to get punched. If you go into a fight and you know you're going to get punched, and that's what you should have expected because it was a 2-5 Browns team that was really fighting for its season at home. If you know that from the jump, it makes it a little easier to absorb it because you're expecting it and you can retaliate. And it did not feel like that the Bengals had the hunger, the anger, the whatever you want to say, drive, whatever. And I'm not saying they didn't want to win. That's not what I'm saying. But it didn't look like that. It looked like one team was hungrier than the other. And so that has to change starting this week against the Carolina team that has played angry. They've played well over the past couple of weeks. Joe Burrow saying that there's no real weakness on their defense, praised, everything from the interior of their defensive line to their edge rushers to, everything they have on defense. And obviously the way P.J. Walker's playing on offense, you have a good ground game even without Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore playing better with Walker at quarterback. And it's like, okay, this is not going to be some walk in the park for the Bengals. And unfortunately, they're not going to have DJ Reader, who Zach Taylor said they'll reevaluate after the bye. We'll see. I think he's moving well. I think there's a real shot that he's going to be able to start practicing after the bye week. Why activate him now when you can give him an extra week and then activate him ahead of the matchup against Pittsburgh, which is certainly going to be another must-win because they're 0-3 in the division, and you can't go to 0-4 in the division. So this Bengals team certainly has dug itself into a hole in the division, but regardless, they have to handle business against an NFC South team this week in the Carolina Panthers. The Bengals are 2-0 against NFC South teams right now. They've already beat the Falcons. They've already beat the New Orleans Saints, so we'll see. Quick note, I did see Jamar Chase today. I gave him a little fist bump, and, we'll see. He's certainly not going to play this week, but, you never know if he could play after that. But I did see Jamar Chase. He was at team facilities. It's the first time I've seen him since the injury. And since at least the news of the injury came out, because we didn't see him last week after that game against the Falcons. We did after the game, but during the week throughout practice when all the news came out and all of those things, when he had been missing practice. That said, Chidobe Awuzie out. Nothing on Sidney Jones yet, and that's one that I mentioned on allbengals.com, corner that got released by the Seahawks. I don't think that transaction processed until Wednesday, so he's subject to waivers over Wednesday night and into Thursday, so I would imagine we will hear something about him, whether or not the Bengals claim him, whether someone else claims him over the next 24 hours. We'll keep you up to date there if they make that move, but if not, well, then it's going to be the Eli Apple, Cam Taylor, Britt show. And Eli Apple is a limited participant, or would have been a limited participant. It's a practice estimate. The Bengals only had a walkthrough today. So good news overall. I think he's going to be good to go and play. And say what you want about Eli Apple, you need him out there. And so I think it'll be Cam Taylor-Britt and Eli Apple starting alongside Mike Hilton, who also would have missed practice with a finger injury. Trey Flowers would have missed with the hamstring. And then obviously we know about Jamar. La'el Collins would have rested. And then we know about Awuzie, and Josh Tupou still out with the calf injury. But Eli Apple, he comes back. I think it'll be Cam Taylor-Britt, Mike Hilton in the slot. And then after that, you might be looking at a Dax Hill here and potentially getting him involved in the cornerback room a little bit. And that could also be subject to whether or not you get a guy like Sidney Jones on waivers, whether or not you feel comfortable with, Alan George potentially being elevated from the practice squad and going that route. So they could certainly go that route, and it's going to be interesting to see how they make it work in the secondary. On the flip side, offense-wise, they just need to find a way to make it work. I mean, on second watch, Joe Mixon didn't make anyone miss, and that's frustrating. It doesn't feel like he's really fitting what they're doing, and I don't think he's playing well. I don't think they're dedicated to the run. And are they not dedicated to the run because he's not doing what he should do? Is it a mixture of both? I'm not sure. All I know is got to figure it out because you're paying Joe Mixon a lot of money, and he's supposed to be this star, and that's what makes it sound like, oh, well, they have all these weapons. Well, right now Mixon has not been a positive for whatever reason. It might not be him. I want to be clear on that. It might not be him. It might be a mixture of the offensive line and the play calling and all of these things, but he hasn't been. So that's part of it that they're going to have to work through here and try to figure out. And I know a lot of people are asking for more Chris Evans snaps. Zach Taylor's asked about that. He said, well, Chris has a role, and it doesn't sound like that they're going to go that route. Should they? Wouldn't have been mad at them on Monday night when the game was clearly over, giving 25 more snaps just to see. And instead they didn't. I would have probably put Evans in for multiple snaps. Obviously, he made a big catch on the Bengals' first drive. Maybe they go that route more, but honestly, I just look at the target share, and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins need to be more involved. But Hayden Hurst talking, and we posted videos of so many different Bengals today, from Hayden Hurst to Ted Karras to Eli Apple to Dax Hill, Zach Taylor, obviously Joe Burrow, both of them having their weekly Wednesday press conferences. But we're loaded here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk, so make sure you check all of that out. Make sure you check out Bengals on the Brain Tuesday night with Joe Goodberry. He broke down the entire game with Nick Superling. It was awesome, so make sure you check that out. But overall, this Bengals team, they're reeling a little bit. And to me, I'm going to focus on the offense because the defense is going to take a step back. That's what happens. You lose Cheeto. He was clearly your best corner. You're not going to have DJ Reader right now. The good news is Logan Wilson came out of the game fine. Trey Hendrickson should be okay. Wasn't listed. It wasn't even listed on the injury report today. So that's pretty good news. Sam Hubbard was dealing with the finger. He would have been a full participant on Wednesday if they did practice. So overall, this Bengals defense is going to have to adjust. I think it's all eyes on the offense. Can they figure it out now? You have a franchise quarterback for a reason. You have Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins for a reason. You got Joe Mixon for a reason. Figure it out. And if you can't figure it out with those guys, add in some Chris Evans. Add in some different guys to make it work. We'll see if they can do that. And we'll see if they add a receiver. They worked out some receivers on Saturday. I thought maybe they would go that route. Haven't done it as of yet, as of me recording this video. If they do, we'll talk about that as well. We'll also keep an eye out on Sidney Jones. So get to rivertowninquiry.com. And for Andrew Foxmiller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien. Hit that subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching right here on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.